Okay, I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna start back from the beginning of what I was doing. The seven sons of Feanor were Mithros the Tall, Maglor the Mighty Singer, whose voice was heard far over land and sea, Kelagorm the Fair, Caranthir the Dark, Curufin the Crafty, who inherited most of his father's skill of hand, and the youngest Amrod and Amras, who were twin brothers, alike in mood and face. In later days, they were great hunters in the woods of Middle-earth, and a hunter also was Kilagorm, who in Valinor was a friend of Worome, and often followed the Valar's horn. The sons of Fingolfin were Fingon, who was afterwards king of the Noldor in the north of the world, and Turgon, lord of Gondolin. Their sister was Arathel, the White. She was younger in the years of the Eldar than her brothers, and she was grown to full stature and beauty. And when she was grown to full stature and beauty, she was tall and strong, and loved much to ride and hunt in the forests. There she was often in the company of the sons of Feanor, her kin, but to none was her heart's love given. Arfaniel, she was called, the White Lady of the Noldor, for she was pale, though her hair was dark, and she was never arrayed but in silver and white. The sons of Finarfin were Finrod the Faithful, who was afterwards called Felagund, Lord of Caves, Orodreth, Angrod and Aignor. These four were as close in friendship with the sons of Fingolfin as though they were all brothers. A sister they had, Galadriel. You will know of Galadriel, because she is most prominent in The Lord of the Rings. The most beautiful of all the House of Finwë. Her hair was lit with gold as though it was caused in a mesh of radiance of Laurelin. Here must be told how the Teleri came at last to the lands of Alman. Through a long age they dwelt in Tol Eressëa, but slowly their hearts were changed, and were drawn towards the light that flowed out over the sea to the lonely isle. They were torn between the love of the music of the waves upon their shores, and the desire to see again their kindred, and to look upon the splendor of Valinor. But in the end, the desire of the lights was the stronger. Therefore, Ulmo, submitting to the will of the Valar, sent to them Ulse, their friend. And he, though grieving, taught them the craft of shipbuilding, and when their ships were built, he brought them, as his parting gift, many strong-winged swans. These swans drew the white ships of the Teleri over the windless sea, and thus at last and latest they came to Aman and the shores of Eldamar. There they dwelt, and if they wished, they could see the light of the trees, and could tread the golden streets of Valimar and the crystal stairs of Tirion upon Duna, the green hill. But most of all they sailed with their swift ships on the waters of the Bay of Elvenholm, or walked in the waves upon the shore, with their hair gleaming in the lights beyond the hills. Many jewels the Noldor gave them, opals and diamonds and pale crystals, which they strewed upon the shores and scattered in the pools. Marvelous were the beaches of Elendë in those days, and many pearls they won for themselves from the sea. And their halls were of pearl, and of pearl were the mansions of Olwe at Alqualondë, the haven of the swans, lit with many lamps. For that was their city, and the haven of their ships, and those were made in the likeness of swans, with beaks of gold and eyes of golden jet. The gate of their harbor was an arch of living rock carved, and it lay upon the confines of Eldamar, north of the Calacaria, where the light of the stars were bright and clear. As the ages passed, the Vanyar grew to love the land of the Valar and the full light of the trees. And they forsook the city of Tyrion upon Tuna, and dwelt thereafter upon the mountain of Manwë, or about the plains and the woods of Valinor, and became sundered from the Noldor. But the memory of Middle-earth under the stars remained in the hearts of the Noldor, and they abode in the Calacaria, and in the hills and the valleys within sound of the western sea. And though many of them were often about the land of the Valar, making far journeys in search of the secrets of the land and water and all living things, yet the people of Tuna and Alqualonde drew together in those days. Finwë was king in Tirion, and Olwë in Alqualonde, but Ingwë was ever held the high king of all the elves. He abode thereafter at the feet of Manwë upon Tani Quetzil. Feanor and his sons abode seldom in one place for long, but travelled far and wide upon the confines of Valinor, going ever to the borders of the dark and cold shores of the outer sea, seeking the unknowns. Often they were guests in the halls of Alwë, but Celegorm went rather to the house of Orome, and there he got great knowledge of birds and beasts, and all their tongues he knew. For all living things that are, or have been in the kingdom, for all the living things that are, or have been in the kingdom of Arda, save only the fell and evil creatures of Melkor, lived then in the lands of Almon. And there also were many other creatures that have not been seen upon Middle-earth, and perhaps never now shall be, since the fashion of the world was changed. So, before I can get to chapter 6, I'm going to have to upload the videos that I just got done recording, so it might take a while. Please be patient with me. And I will get them uploaded as soon as possible, so thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful day. May God bless you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.